All right. So if you're just a pleasure rider, you may ask, what would be the point and the advantage of what we're doing here is breaking a horse to picket. I mean, that's what we're doing. So picket is you're going to tie a horse out to a stake or to a tree or something on a long rope from the graze at night. All right. Most pleasure riders, trail riders, they never train their horse to do this, but it has advantages, not just for being able to picket them out to graze, but it has advantages on their training for other things as well. Now, anything new that you're going to train your horse to do, you want to teach them, you want to start, and you want to let them figure it out. And so we're going to do a training on him on this, and then I'll show you about picketing, the actual picketing, okay? So I'm going to come in here. Whoa, son. Now see, he's unsure about this, that's natural and fine. So now you can lay the lariat down in front of them and let them step into it, pick them up and put it over it. I'm just going to stay with him. Let me have it. You just calmly stay with him till you get it done. Now what this is all about, the whole concept behind this is for him to follow a feel. All right? So I'm just going to give him a little bit of feel, and I'm going to let him follow it. So I'm just going to lightly come on here. I'm just going to keep a little bit of pressure, that's all. I'm going to release. Just like the reins deal. Because the instinct of the horse is the instinct of the horse, whether it's the nose or their foot. A horse is a horse is a horse. So it's to follow that feel. All right, see how he's licking his lips? He's like, hey, not a lot of drama here. We're all right. I'm going to do it again. I'm just going to hold it. I'm not picking his foot up with this. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not pulling it enough to pick his foot up. I'm just holding pressure. Okay? Let me have it again. Now this time I'm going to do it a little different. This time I'm going to pull his foot forward, set it down. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to set it down forward, okay? We'll let him do that. I don't want him. All right. So now, what are some secondary advantages to doing this with your horse? What can you see some secondary advantages of teaching your horse this, other than just picketing?
Desensitizes his feet.
Okay, and what would be the advantage of that?
When your farrier comes, it's easier to shoot.
Okay, that desensitizing him so when the farrier comes he's easier. What if he gets caught in wire? What if he's out in the pasture and he gets caught in wire and he's learned, if I got something wrapped around my ankle, don't fight it, don't jerk it, don't try to pull it out, don't try to get away. Give to that pressure. So I got wire, I come out here, it pulls. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give to that pressure. I'm going to come back here and sit down. Okay? Everything you do with your horse carries over into other aspects. Again, like I've mentioned before, we're not trying to train the horse's body. We're training the horse's mind. If you get the mind, you've got the body. Okay? So this is training the horse's mind. Hey, when I got things wrapped around my feet, I should just stand still. When there's pressure, regardless of what that pressure is, I should give to that pressure. whether it be on the head, around the mouth, around the feet. I mean, eventually you should be able to walk around, get a hold of your horse's tail, and pull and back up and back your horse up. Because the whole concept of giving to pressure should apply to the entire horse. All right, so he's giving on that. Easy, son. Now, I'm gonna take a shot with him because I know him fairly well, and I'm gonna drop that lead rope. I'm gonna come around here. Let me have it. I'm gonna do the other side. Now, we talked about this. Whatever you do on one side of your horse, you got to do it on the other side. It doesn't carry across. You teach them something on one side, oh son, you got to teach them on the other side. Now he's a little bit more ouchy on this side, which horses are right-sided, left-sided, just like we're right-handed, left-handed. So it's all right, it's natural. It's kind of like the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case. He says, I object, and I'm the judge, and I say, I'll allow it. You know, the objection is sustained or the objection is overruled. Sometimes he objects, and I'm like, objection overruled. But sometimes it's legitimate. He objects, and I'm like, that's legitimate. I'll allow it. All right, buddy. When you're moving around your horse, so I would say the perfect example of both sides of this coin is Joel's one side and Rob's the other side, okay? When you're moving around your horse, now see, he was following the halter there. He was following the lead rope, not the foot. You got to have that balance of moving too slow and being too quick and jerky. All right, if the horse is standing there and everything's fine, and I approach the horse like, oh my, something bad could happen, and I come up slow and like I'm sneaking up on him, okay? Then he's gonna say, why is he sneaking up on me? I think something bad's fixing to happen. And then he's gone. But if I come in hard and fast and jerky, he's gone. Approaching a horse, like I said the other day, is like holding a wet bar of soap. All right, if you hold it too lightly, it's going to slip out of your hands. If you squeeze too tight, it's going to pop out of your hands. It's going to squirt out of your hands. When you approach your horse, if you sneak up on them, you're going to lose them. If you jump and jerk towards them, you're going to lose them. You're just slow and deliberate. Okay, you got to find that balance. You got to just slow and deliberate. When you're putting something on their foot, you're approaching them to catch them, to put a halt on them, don't sneak up on them, but don't charge them like you're fixing to cut them up into steak either. Just approach them like it's grandma's 30-year-old horse that's going to just stand there. And a lot of times if you approach them like that, they're like, I think I should just stand here. And they actually will. All right. Come here. All right, I'm gonna let that down. Come here. So I'm gonna start out just holding the pressure. Just holding the pressure. And then I'm gonna release. So I start out teaching him to give to that by the release, which we talked about yesterday. And when he's pretty light on that, then we'll start leading him with it. So I give him the first step. All right, come on. I'm gonna pull it forward and I'm gonna lead him with it. There, he's leading lightly. Now part of it, he was leading with the halter. Okay, I understand that. But that just helped direct him. All right, buddy. Come on. Come on. Very good. The other advantage of this, remember what I said. Remember what I said. Experience in your horse, all these different myriad, really unusual experiences that are not negative. Experience breeds self-confidence. Self-confidence leads to calmness, and calmness leads to safety. So the more stuff you do like this, the more stuff he's been through, and he'll become like a man who's been around the world and been through everything. He becomes world weary. Nothing shakes him up. I've been there, I've done that, and I survived it. And that's what a true bomb-proof horse is. It's a world-weary horse that says, I've been there, I've done it, and I survived it. And the more stuff you do with your horse like this, the further he comes, further along down that road he gets, okay? So all this stuff is not, like we did a horse the other day, you know, we put her across the tarp. This stuff here like this, just flapping your raincoat around them and moving them over tires and moving them over logs and just all sorts of different stuff in a controlled environment, not to scare them. All right. Fear is never an acceptable method for training a horse. You never come to a horse and say, I want the horse to get used to a tarp. And so you put them right off in a situation where they're terrified and you say, okay, I want you to get over this terror. I want you to get over this terror and then you'll be over it. That's not acceptable. You start out small and you lead them up to it and they're a little bit hesitant and unsure. And so you work them through that and then you expand it, all right? And so you meet them where they're at, with their lack of surety. Quit that. Oh, that's a fly, isn't it? Sorry, buddy. All right? But you don't want them to be scared. So I'm not going to sneak up on him. I'm going to come down here and get this lariat like he's just going to stand there. All right, come here. All right. Give it to me, buddy. I'm going to put that over his neck so he's not confused about what he's following. I'm going to see if he'll lead with it. See if he'll lead with it. Come on, put it down. There you go. Put it down. Come on. Now we're going to picket him in a minute and I'll explain to you and show you. I prefer to picket my horses from a hind leg. There's a big old horsefly right there. I picket my horses preferably from the hind leg. So they walk out eating, grazing till they get the end of it. So I'm going to have him in a controlled environment right here where I mimic that. There he's licking his lips. And he came back and followed that feel, okay? All right, he's really good. Oh, son. And no, come at it backwards. There you go. And just for safety's sake, we're going to do the other one too. When you go to picket a horse, tie your stake off. Figure out where you're going to tie your stake off, or pick out what tree you're going to use. Tie your bowline on it, and then run your picket line out to its full length. Okay? Everywhere that your horse is going to go. And then check and make sure, if there's a tree right here, we're not going to do this. Okay? You're going to set your horse up to succeed. When he comes out to the full length, is he going to get hung up on anything? Are there stobs that's sticking up he's going to get hung up in? Anything like that. So he's all right. Come here, buddy. Ooh. So I'm going to come in here. Oh, son. I'm just going to come up close, and I'm going to tie a close bowline right here. So this is if you're out on the trail and you need to picket your horse with a couple of lead ropes. Okay? So right there. Now I'm going to leave a halter on my horse, because if he gets loose, life happens. All right? Eventually, they're going to get loose. Something's going to happen. All right? So if I have a halter on hand, I'm much better off. So I'm just going to come in here. I'm going to leave the halter and I'm going to come in here. Now I'm going to have this up close so he can't get his foot through when he's down grazing and he's stepping forward. You don't want this where he can get his foot through it. So we just got it up here all the way. Now I'm going to turn him loose. Now he's going to start grazing. He's going to go out the end of that and he's going to say, he's like, no, Daddy, I learned in the round pen yesterday, safety's with you. I'm going to stay with you. All right, good man. All right, if you want to go and get Tank, we'll picket Tank out too. And we'll use one of these single leg hobbles. And so we'll experience both. Now, when you got one that's, especially one that's just learning, don't jump in your truck right now and run to town and run errands. Go on about your business, but stay wherever 15 or 20 minutes you can step out and look at him, because he may, just while he's grazing, wind himself up in that and then not be sure how to get himself undone. Okay, so this is not a corral. We can't do this and then just disappear and go to town and go to the bar. All right? All right. All right. You can start grazing now.